The candy bowl sat heavy in my lap. I stared at the front door, waiting for kids to knock, but the laughter behind me drowned out everything. "Hey, Mom, look!" Emma's voice rang out. "Do I look scary?" I twisted my head just enough to see her dash across the living room, her witch's hat wobbling. Kyle followed, his plastic sword clattering against the floor. "You two look great," Mom said softly. Rick's voice cut through louder. "Don't run inside. You'll break something." I shifted the bowl. "Can I, go with them this year?" My voice cracked. Rick didn't look at me. He was fixing Emma's cape. "You're too old for that." 17 and walking around in costume? Embarrassing, my throat tightened. "I could just keep an eye on them," he laughed, short and sharp. "That's what I'm here for. You stay home. Hand out candy. Make yourself useful." Mom glanced at me, her lips parting like she might argue. Then she closed them again. "Maybe next year," she whispered. "Next year he'll be 18, Rick said. "He should be thinking about college, not candy." Emma tilted her head. "But I don't mind if he comes." Rick patted her shoulder. "Sweetheart, you'll have more fun without him tagging along," Kyle giggled. "Yeah, he'd be the biggest kid out there." The laughter stung. I looked down at the bowl. Bright wrappers stared back at me like mocking smiles. "Fine," I muttered. Mom knelt beside me. "It's just one night. Don't let it bother you." "Doesn't bother me," I lied. Rick clapped his hands. "All right, let's go, kids," Emma waved. "Bye," Kyle shouted. "Save us some candy." The door slammed shut. Their laughter faded down the street. I sat there, the silence pressing in. The candy bowl felt heavier than ever. A knock broke it. I opened the door to a group of little kids dressed as superheroes, trick or treat. They shouted. I forced a smile. "Here you go." I dropped candy into their bags, my hand trembling. "Thanks." They ran off. I closed the door slowly, the cheer outside cutting into me like glass. Mom's voice echoed in my head. "Don't let it bother you." Rick's laugh replayed louder. "Make yourself useful," I whispered. "I don't belong here." Another knock. Another group. I handed out candy, but each smile I gave felt weaker. By the time the third group left, I slumped against the wall. Memories pulled me back, my real dad. Alive, wearing a vampire cape one Halloween years ago. He held my hand, walking house to house. "You're the bravest knight," he'd said when I wore a cardboard shield. Back then, I was seen. Now? Invisible. The door creaked open. Mom peeked in. "You doing okay?"
"Yeah," I said, though my voice cracked. She stepped closer.
"I know it feels unfair. Rick he wants things a certain way. His way," I said flatly. She sighed. "He tries. You don't see it, but, Mom, he doesn't want me here." "You know that?" Her eyes shimmered. "That's not true." "It is," I whispered. "He looks at me like I'm a stranger. And you," I swallowed hard. "You let him." Her face fell. "I'm trying to keep peace. For all of us." "Peace," I repeated bitterly. "Feels more like silence." Before she could answer, another knock came. She straightened. "We'll talk later." She opened the door, greeting kids with a forced cheer. I stayed in the corner, my words choking me. When the kids left, she looked at me again, but her eyes dropped quickly. "Good night, honey." She slipped upstairs. The house grew quiet. Only the ticking clock and faint shouts outside remained. I stared at the candy bowl again, still full. "Too old," I muttered. "Too much. Too nothing." I pressed my hand against the glass door, watching shadows move under streetlights. Families walked together, costumes glowing, laughter spilling across the night. I sat in the dark, waiting for knocks that felt like reminders. Everyone belongs somewhere, but not me. The night dragged on. More kids came, more candy left, until only a few pieces remained. My legs ached from standing, but I didn't stop. Each door opened, each smile forced. Finally, no one came. Midnight neared. I carried the empty bowl upstairs and set it on my desk. The wrappers rattled inside like hollow echoes. I whispered to the silence. I waited all night. No one came for me. My reflection in the dark window stared back, pale and tired. Something inside me cracked. Not loud. Not sudden. Just a quiet break I couldn't glue back together. That was the night I realized I was done waiting at doors that never opened. "Are you just going to sit there?" Rick's voice snapped across the kitchen the next morning. The trash is overflowing. I pushed my chair back. I'll take it out. You should have done it before breakfast. Do I have to tell you everything twice? Mom looked at her plate, silent. Emma and Kyle stared at their cereal. I was up late with homework, I muttered. Rick scoffed. Homework? Or hiding in your room again? Lazy. That's what you are. The word burned. I said I'll do it. Don't just say it. Do it. I grabbed the bag, tied it too tight, and shoved past him. His mutter followed me out the door. Not my kid, not my problem. The words stayed in my head all day. At school, kids buzzed about their Halloween. We hit 20 houses, one boy bragged. My dad carried me when I got tired, another girl laughed. We had a family costume. My parents were pirates and I was the parrot. Their voices blurred into a chorus of what I didn't have. Hey! Daniel dropped his tray beside mine at lunch. Why do you look like someone died? I picked at my sandwich. Nothing. Liar. You're always quiet, but this is different. I sighed. They went trick-or-treating without me. Daniel blinked. What, your mom too? Yeah. That's messed up, I shrugged. Rick said I'm too old. Too old to be with your own family? That's not an excuse, I stared at the table. I feel invisible in my own home. Daniel leaned closer. Then stop letting them treat you like a ghost. Make noise, I shook my head. You don't get it. If I fight back, Mom just tells me to let it go. She won't choose me. She should, he shot back. You're her son. The bell rang before I could answer. His words echoed, though, make noise. That night, I heard Rick's voice again before I even stepped into the living room. He doesn't help Sarah. He eats here, sleeps here, but he's not my responsibility. Mom's soft reply. He's still a kid, Rick, not mine. He's yours. You baby him, he'll never grow up. My chest tightened. I stepped in. I'm standing right here. Rick turned, unbothered. Good, maybe you'll hear the truth for once. The truth, I repeated. That you wish I didn't live here? He smirked. You said it, not me. Mom stepped between us. Enough, both of you. No, Mom, I said. My voice shook, but I didn't stop. You let him talk like this every day. You let him treat me like trash. Her eyes darted from him to me. I'm trying to keep peace. Peace? I laughed bitterly. You mean silence. Rick crossed his arms. What have you done to deserve anything here? You don't pay bills. You don't work. You're dead weight. The words hit like knives. I didn't ask to be here, I snapped. Exactly. He leaned forward. You're here because of your mother, not because I wanted you. Mom's face crumpled. Rick, tell me I'm wrong, he pressed. She said nothing. The silence was worse than his words. I felt the floor tilt beneath me. Right, so that's it. I'm not family. Just someone passing through. Emma peeked from the hallway, her voice small. Why are you fighting? Rick barked. Go to your room. She flinched and ran upstairs. I swallowed hard. You're good at making kids cry. His eyes narrowed. Watch yourself. Or what? You'll throw me out? Go ahead. You've already made it clear I don't belong. Mom reached for my arm. Please don't. I pulled back. Why should I stay quiet? You already chose him over me. Her lips trembled. It's not that simple. It is, I said. You just don't want to admit it. The room fell into heavy silence. Rick stared smug like he'd won. Mom stared at the floor. I walked upstairs slowly, each step heavier than the last. My room felt colder than usual, the walls closing in. From below, I still heard Rick. One day he'll thank me for tough love. Mom didn't answer. I sat on my bed, fists clenched. The candy bowl from last night still sat on my desk, wrappers rustling when I brushed against it. I whispered into the empty room. I'll never thank you. And for the first time, I wondered if Daniel was right. Maybe being invisible was safer, but maybe it was killing me too. I was halfway down the stairs when I heard my name. Rick's voice floated up from the kitchen. I never wanted him here. He's dead weight, Mom's voice trembled. Rick, please don't. No, he snapped. You let him sit around, eat our food, act like a victim. He's not mine. I didn't sign up for him. I froze, gripping the railing. The words hit harder than I thought they could. Mom whispered, He's still a child. Rick laughed low. He's almost grown. He needs to leave. The air felt thick. My chest tightened until it hurt. Do you even hear yourself? Mom asked softly. I've been patient, Rick said. but I won't raise someone else's mistake. Something inside me cracked. I pushed the door open wider. Say it again. Rick turned, eyes cold. You shouldn't be eavesdropping. You called me deadweight, I said. My voice shook, but I didn't stop. You said you never wanted me here. Mom reached for me. Please, honey, don't honey me, I snapped. You just stood there while he said it. Her lips quivered. I was trying unto what? Pretend it's not happening? Rick crossed his arms. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Attitude, disrespect. You humiliate me every chance you get, I said. And she lets you. Mom's eyes filled with tears. I don't let him. You're crying, but you're not stopping him, I said. You never stop him, Rick sneered. Maybe if you contributed something. I didn't ask to live here, I cut in. I didn't ask for you. Then leave, he said flatly. See how far you get. The room spun. My fists curled so tight my nails bit my palms. You want me gone? Fine, but remember you said it. Mom's hand trembled near my arm. Please, calm down. Calm? I laughed bitterly. You're the one crying, Mom. He's the one insulting me. But I should calm down? Don't talk to her like that, Rick said, stepping forward. I backed up. Don't tell me how to talk. You're not my father. That's the only thing you've ever been right about, he said. The silence after that felt like a slap. I turned and walked out before I did something I couldn't undo. Upstairs. I slammed my door and locked it. The walls felt too close. My hands trembled as I pressed them to my head. Below, I could still hear their muffled voices. I can't do this anymore, Mom whispered. You won't kick me out, Rick said. You need me. I pressed my forehead to the window. My reflection stared back, pale, hollow, eyes rimmed red. On my desk, the candy bowl still sat from Halloween, untouched. Bright wrappers under the dim light, I whispered, offered but unwanted. The words felt heavy on my tongue. I sat down, fists still shaking. Daniel's voice from lunch replayed in my head. Make noise. I'd tried. All it got me was another wound. I grabbed a candy and unwrapped it slowly. The sugar tasted like nothing. My phone buzzed. A text from Daniel. You good? I typed back, no, then deleted it. Typed again, yeah. Hit send. He wrote back, call me if you need to. I dropped the phone on the bed. My heart pounded so hard it hurt. Below, a door slammed. Rick's voice rose, but I couldn't make out the words. Mom's voice cracked again. I pressed my palms to my ears. I hated how small I felt. Hated how much power his words had, but somewhere under the anger, something else started to form. Cold, sharp, steady. I whispered, if no one sees me, I'll make them. My chest heaved. One way or another, the thought scared me a little, but it also felt like the first true thing I'd said all night. I stood up and looked around my room. The candy bowl glared back at me like an accusation. I'm not your dead weight, I said to the empty room. I said it again, louder. I'm not your dead weight. My voice echoed off the walls. For a moment, the trembling stopped. I sat back down, breathing hard. Below, the house had gone quiet. I whispered to the silence, you'll notice me. And for the first time, I didn't sound like I was begging. Daniel leaned against my locker. You look like hell. I'm fine. You've been saying that all week, he said. Newsflash, you're not fine. I shoved books into my bag. What do you want me to say? Say you're done taking his crap. I stared at him. What if I already am? Daniel smirked. Then prove it, I frowned. How? Work, save, build something that's yours. You've got to make yourself so strong they regret treating you like nothing. The words stuck. Stronger than Rick? Stronger than anyone who thinks you don't matter, he said. That night I sat at the dinner table in silence. Rick muttered, at least Emma and Kyle help with chores. You just sit. Normally I'd argue. Instead I kept eating. He narrowed his eyes. You hear me? I looked up. Yeah, that's all you've got to say? Yep, he slammed his fork down. Don't test me, boy, Mom whispered. Rick, please. I kept my eyes on my plate. I'm not testing anyone. The silence after that was heavier than yelling. Later, Daniel texted me a job listing. Gas station. Late shifts. Decent pay, I replied. I'll take it. The next week, I started working nights. Stocking shelves, sweeping floors, counting bills. My feet ached, but every dollar I stuffed into a jar under my bed felt like armor. One night on break, I called Daniel. "It's not much, but it's mine. That's the point," he said. "Every cent is proof you don't need him." Back home, Rick's voice carried across the living room. "Where were you?" "Work," he frowned. "At this hour?" "Yeah, doing what?" "Gas station," he snorted. "That's not a job." "That's a waste of time," I shrugged. "Pays me," his jaw tightened. "Don't get smart." "I wasn't," I said calmly. He hated that more than shouting. For weeks, I kept up the same routine: school, work, sleep. Rick kept throwing insults, but I stopped feeding him reactions. His anger built, but I felt something new: control. Then one afternoon, Emma knocked on my door. "Can I come in?" I hesitated, then opened it. "What's up?" She stepped inside, her voice small. "Why don't you sit with us anymore?" My throat tightened. "I've been busy." "You're always in your room or gone." "I'm working," I said. Her eyes searched mine. "Did I do something?" "No, Emma, you didn't." "Then why are you mad all the time?" I sat on the edge of the bed. "I'm not mad at you," she fiddled with her sleeve. "You don't laugh with us anymore." Her words stung. "Sometimes it's easier to stay quiet." "I miss when you played games with me and Kyle." I forced a smile. "You're better off without me dragging you down." "That's not true," she said firmly. I almost told her everything. Rick's words, Mom's silence, but I couldn't. She was 12. She still deserved to believe family meant safety, so I said, "Thanks, Emma, but it's better this way." She frowned. "I don't believe you." She left, and the room felt colder. Later, Daniel cornered me at school again. "You look like you're carrying a bomb." Emma asked why I don't sit with them anymore. "And?" I couldn't tell her. "She's just a kid." Daniel shook his head. "You don't owe anyone explanations. Focus on your plan." "My plan?" "To get free," he said. I nodded slowly. "Yeah, free." At dinner that night, Rick grumbled again. "Gas station work, worthless." I kept eating. "You think you're too good to answer me now?" I swallowed my food. "No, I just don't care what you think." His face turned red. "You little—" Mom stepped in. "Rick, stop!" He glared at me but said nothing more. I pushed my plate away. "Thanks for dinner." Upstairs, I added more bills to the jar. Each one felt like a brick in the wall I was building between me and him. I whispered, "I won't beg anymore." The candy bowl still sat untouched on my desk. A reminder of the night everything cracked. I stared at it and thought, they can keep their table. I'll build my own. The anger still burned, but underneath it was something sharper. Resolve. I wasn't waiting for anyone to open the door anymore. The yelling started before I even got home. Through the front door, I heard Rick's voice, sharp and furious. "Do you understand what this means?" "They fired me! Fired me!" After 20 years, Mom's shaky reply followed. "It was one mistake." "One mistake?" He snapped. "You don't lose a job like that over nothing." I stepped inside. He whipped his head toward me. "What are you staring at?" "Nothing." "Don't give me that look." Mom touched his arm. "Rick, please." He didn't do anything. He pulled away. He never does anything. That's the problem. I clenched my fists but walked past them. For days, the house simmered. Rick stomped through the rooms, snapping at everything. Mom kept whispering, "He's under stress." But even she looked worn thin. At dinner one night, the tension cracked open. Emma asked gently, "Can I have more potatoes?" Rick slammed the spoon down. "Take smaller bites then." "Food doesn't grow on trees," Mom frowned. "Rick, don't start with me," he barked. The silence was thick. I focused on my plate, breathing slow. Rick's eyes narrowed. "Why are you breathing so loud?" I blinked. "I'm breathing. You're doing it on purpose." To annoy me, my chest tightened. Mom whispered, "He's not—" "Quiet," Rick snapped. I dropped my fork. "You know what?" "No." His head jerked toward me. "What did you say?" I met his glare. I said no. "I'm not going to sit here while you pick apart everything I do." His face turned red. "Watch your mouth." "I've watched it long enough," I said. My voice shook, but I pushed forward. "You don't scare me anymore." The words hung in the air like shattered glass. Mom froze. Emma stared wide-eyed. Kyle set his fork down slowly. Rick leaned forward. Say that again. You heard me. The silence stretched. Mom's voice broke. Please, let's just eat. No, Rick said, eyes locked on me. This little punk thinks he's grown. I swallowed hard. I'm not grown, but I'm not your punching bag either. His hands tightened around his fork. You think because you have some part-time job you're a man now? I kept my gaze steady. No, I think because I can stand up to you I'm not afraid anymore. The table was still. Even the ticking clock felt loud. Rick's lip curled. You've got nothing, no future. No family, nothing. I leaned forward. If that's true, then why are you so desperate to break me? He flinched just slightly. Mom whispered, Stop it, both of you. But I wasn't done. You lost your job, Rick, not me. You're angry at yourself, but you'd rather take it out on us. His fist slammed the table. Shut your mouth. I didn't move. No! For the first time, his voice cracked. You ungrateful little... Emma whimpered. Please, stop fighting. Kyle's eyes watered. Dad! Rick looked at them, then back at me. I could see it. The cracks. His mask slipping. Mom's voice trembled. Rick, you're scaring them. He pushed his chair back and stood. I'm done with this. He stormed out, the door slamming behind him. The house fell silent. Emma whispered, Why did you say that? I looked at her gently. Because it was true, Kyle sniffled. But now he's mad, I sighed. He was mad before. Mom pressed her hands to her face. You don't understand what you've done. I stared at her. What I've done? I stood up for myself. For all of us. She dropped her hands slowly, eyes shining with tears. He's under pressure. He doesn't mean it. Doesn't mean it? I asked. Every word he says, he means. And you let him. Her voice cracked. Don't put this on me. Who else should I put it on? I demanded. You're the one who keeps asking us to stay quiet. She shook her head. I'm trying to hold this family together. This isn't a family, I said. It's a cage. Her breath caught. She turned away, whispering, You don't understand. Emma and Kyle sat frozen, eyes darting between us. I softened my voice. You're not the problem, Emma. Neither are you, Kyle, Emma whispered. Then who is? I looked toward the slammed door. The one who pretends he's holding everything up while he's the one breaking it. Mom didn't turn back. I stood, my chair scraping the floor. You all can keep pretending. But I'm done being scared of him. I walked upstairs, heart pounding, but lighter than before. In my room, I shut the door and leaned against it. My hands still shook, but not from fear. For the first time, it felt like the balance had shifted. I whispered to myself, You don't scare me anymore. And this time, the words didn't crack. They landed solid. By Monday, the whispers were already circling. At my locker, 2 kids laughed. Did you hear? That guy from the plant, Rick Carter, lied on reports. Got canned, I froze. Daniel leaned against the lockers. They're talking about him, aren't they? Yeah, he studied my face. And? I muttered, I don't want to talk about it. Why not? He pressed. It's the truth. People should know, I shook my head. It's not my story to tell. Daniel crossed his arms. It is when it affects you. He's been writing you for years. Now the mask slips and you're just supposed to stay quiet? I'm not like him, he sighed. No, you're better. But silence makes it look like you agree with his act. Do you want people thinking you're invisible forever? I stared at the floor. I don't know what I want. Daniel's voice softened. I know what you don't want. Carrying his shame on your back. I walked away before he could say more. That night, I found Mom at the kitchen sink scrubbing a plate over and over. Mom, I said quietly, why do you always defend him? She froze. Don't start. No, I need to know. He treats me like garbage. He treats you like you don't matter. And you just let it happen. Her shoulders shook. I don't let it. You do. My voice cracked. You pick him over me every time. She turned, eyes red. Do you think I wanted this? Do you think I dreamed of you being stuck in the middle? I swallowed hard. Then why stay? Her hands gripped the counter. Because after your father died, I was drowning. I thought if I found someone steady, we'd survive. I just wanted a family again. The words stung sharper than any slap. So you traded me for stability? Tears slipped down her face. No, I thought, if I gave him enough, he'd give back. I was wrong. I stared at her, my chest heavy. You're scared. That's it, isn't it? You're afraid of being alone again. She whispered, Yes. Silence stretched between us. Finally, I said, Your fear cost me a place in this house. Her face crumpled. I never meant to make you feel unwanted. But you did. Her tears fell harder. I don't know how to fix it. I stepped back, my voice hollow. Maybe you can't. The sound of the front door slamming interrupted us. Rick's heavy steps filled the hallway. He barked, What's for dinner? Mom wiped her face quickly. I'll get it started. He glared at me. What are you doing standing there like a ghost? I clenched my jaw. Nothing, he smirked. Exactly. Mom moved quickly, but he shoved past her. Kids, dinner. Emma and Kyle rushed in. Emma smiled weakly. Hi, I nodded. Hey, Rick threw himself into a chair. You two better have your homework done. Emma hesitated. Almost? His voice boomed. That's not good enough. You think life lets you get by on almost? She flinched. Sorry, Kyle whispered. We'll finish after. Rick slammed the table. You'll finish now. Emma's lip trembled. But we're hungry, he snarled. Then starve until you learn discipline, I snapped. That's enough. His head jerked toward me. Excuse me? You heard me. Emma's eyes widened. Kyle froze. Rick stood slowly, towering over me. You want to play hero now? In front of them? I didn't move. I want you to stop crushing them the way you tried to crush me. His voice dripped venom. You think you're better than me? I held his gaze. I think I'm not afraid of you anymore. For a flicker of a second, doubt crossed his face. Then he barked a laugh. Big words for a boy who's nothing, Emma whispered. Dad. He snapped. Quiet! Mom finally spoke. Rick, stop, please, he whipped around. Don't you start too, her voice cracked. They're just kids, he sneered. Kids need discipline. They need love, she whispered. The room fell still. I stared at her, stunned. It was the first time she had pushed back even slightly. Rick scoffed and grabbed his coat. I'm going out. He slammed the door behind him. Emma's shoulders shook. Why is he so mean now? Kyle whispered. He didn't used to be. I crouched down to their level. It's not your fault. None of this is, Emma's voice wavered. Then whose fault is it? I hesitated, then said softly, his, not yours. Never yours. They nodded, though their eyes stayed sad. Mom sat down heavily, face pale. I don't know how much longer I can keep this together. I looked at her. Then maybe it's time to stop pretending it's together at all. Her eyes met mine. For the first time, there was no denial, just fear, raw and unmasked. And I realized then, her weakness wasn't hate. It was terror of losing the fragile picture she had built. But Rick's mask, that perfect dad act, was cracking for everyone to see. And once it broke, nothing would hide what he really was. The living room smelled like roasted chicken and wine. Mom had set the table with her good plates. Guests filled the space with polite laughter, neighbors, one of Rick's old co-workers, even Pastor Miller. I kept to the corner, as usual. Rick raised his glass. To family, he said loudly. To the Carters. Everyone clapped. Then his eyes landed on me. Well, almost the Carters. A ripple of chuckles spread through the room. My chest tightened. Mom whispered, Rick. But he wasn't finished. He smirked. Let's be honest. Some of us are blood. Some of us are mistakes. The laughter died. My fork slipped from my hand. What did you just say? He leaned back in his chair, grinning. You heard me. You're not mine. You never were. And if we're being truthful, you don't belong here. The room froze. Even the guests shifted uncomfortably. Something inside me cracked open. I stood. You want truth? Fine. Let's tell them all the truth. Rick's grin faltered. Sit down. No. My voice cut through the air. Everyone here should know who you really are. The man pretending to be a perfect father. The one who lost his job because he lied, because he cheated reports. The coworker gasped. That's true. Rick's face turned red. Don't listen to him, I pushed forward. You humiliate me, you tear Mom down, and now you're starting on Emma and Kyle. That's your legacy, Rick, not family. Fear, Emma whispered. Is that why you're always angry? Kyle blinked at him. You lost your job? Rick stammered. Kids don't... Mom's voice cut in cold for the first time. Is it true? He looked at her, sweat forming on his brow. Sarah, answer me, she demanded. His mouth opened and closed. Pastor Miller shifted uneasily. Rick? Rick slammed his fist on the table. He's lying. I shook my head. No, I'm not. And you know it. Emma's voice trembled. Why didn't you tell us? Kyle added, why do you yell at us for nothing? Rick's eyes darted between them.
Because I was protecting you.
Protecting? I barked out a laugh. From what? From the truth? From yourself? The room pulsed with silence. Mom's eyes burned into him. All these years I thought you were strong. But you're weak. You hide behind anger. He staggered back as if struck. Sarah, don't... No, she said firmly. I see you now, and I don't like what I see. His voice cracked. I'm the one who kept this house together. I stepped closer. No, you tore it apart piece by piece. You made us smaller so you could feel bigger. But look at you now, shouting in front of everyone. Do you look big? Or do you look small? He roared, shut your mouth. But his voice was thinner, weaker, the guests whispered. Emma clutched Kyle's hand. He doesn't look like Dad anymore, she whispered. Kyle nodded. He looks scared. Rick's eyes widened. No, Mom whispered almost to herself. I used to think I needed you. Then louder. But I don't. Not anymore. He turned to her desperately. Sarah, you can't mean that. Her face was hard. I do. The guests rose awkwardly, murmuring excuses. One by one, they slipped out, leaving the mess behind. Rick's voice grew frantic. They'll believe me, not him. I've built a reputation. No, I said. You built a mask. And it just fell off. Emma looked at me. So you weren't lying? I shook my head gently. Not a word, Kyle whispered. Then he really... Yes, I said softly. He really did. Rick lunged toward me, but Mom stepped between us. Don't you touch him! His breath came heavy. You're choosing him over me? Her eyes didn't waver. I'm choosing the truth. The silence that followed was heavier than any scream. Rick's chest heaved. He looked smaller, cornered. His voice cracked again. You'll regret this. All of you. But even he didn't sound like he believed it. I met his gaze, calm. No, the only one drowning in regret is you. He stumbled back, hands shaking, then stormed toward the door. The slam echoed through the house. Mom sank into a chair, trembling. Emma clung to her arm, Kyle to mine. The three of us breathed together in the stillness. Finally, Emma whispered, Is he gone for good? I swallowed hard. Not yet, but his power is. And for the first time, the silence didn't feel like defeat. It felt like freedom. The air was cool again, sharp with autumn. Orange lights hung across the houses on our street, and kids ran by in masks and costumes. Another Halloween. Mom stirred a pot in the kitchen. You sure you don't want to go out with your friends? I shook my head. I'm fine here, she turned, smiling softly. You don't have to hide anymore. I'm not hiding, I said. Just thinking. Her eyes lingered on me, almost apologetic. I'm sorry it took me so long, I sighed. It's not about apologies. It's about what comes next. She nodded, turning back to the stove. The doorbell rang. I grabbed the candy bowl and opened it to a group of kids shouting, "Trick or treat!" I dropped chocolate into their buckets, smiling despite myself. Emma peeked around the corner. You're giving out candy? Yeah, I said. Why? She stepped closer, Kyle trailing behind her. Because last year, you just sat by the door. Kyle frowned. You looked so sad, I forced a laugh. I didn't want anyone to see that. Emma tilted her head. We saw it, I hesitated. And, she smiled shyly, we didn't like it. So this year we're making sure you don't sit alone. Kyle held out his hand, dropping a mini candy bar into my palm. For you. You're not just the one giving it out. I stared at the candy, throat tight. You don't have to... Emma cut me off. We want to. Come with us when we go trick-or-treating, I blinked. You want me there? Kyle grinned. Of course. You're our brother. The word hit harder than I expected. Mom's voice floated in from the kitchen. Go! Have fun! I looked at her. You sure? She nodded. It's time. Outside, the street glowed with jack-o'-lanterns. Emma adjusted her witch hat. Kyle fixed his pirate sword, and they both tugged at my arms. Emma said, "You don't even need a costume. Just come," Kyle laughed. "You can be the cool older brother costume," I chuckled. "That's not much of a costume," Emma teased. "It fits you." We walked from house to house, their buckets filling with candy. Kids laughed around us, parents waved. I felt lighter. Emma looked up at me. "Do you remember last year?" I exhaled. "Yeah, I remember sitting alone with the candy, waiting. Nobody ever came," Kyle frowned. "We didn't know you felt left out." I smiled sadly. "I didn't want you to. I thought it was just my problem." Emma shook her head. "It wasn't fair. No," I admitted. "But it taught me something." She tilted her head. "What?" I glanced at the candy bowl in my memory, untouched. That waiting for someone else to make me feel included was never going to work. "I had to make my own place," Kyle asked. "And did you?" I nodded. "Yeah, slowly, but I did." Emma squeezed my arm. "We see you now." The words almost undid me. I swallowed hard. "Thanks." We finished the street, laughing at Kyle's fake sword fights and Emma's dramatic witch voice. By the time we got home, their buckets overflowed. Mom waited by the porch light, smiling at the sight of us together. "Looks like you did well," Kyle grinned. "We got so much candy." Emma handed me a lollipop. "And he came with us." Mom's eyes softened as she looked at me. "Good." Inside, the bowl by the door still sat half full. Emma poured in her extras. Kyle did the same. I raised an eyebrow. "You're giving it away?" Emma shrugged. "We've got plenty," Kyle grinned. "Besides, we like sharing." I stared at the overflowing bowl. A year ago, I had sat beside it, invisible, waiting for something that never came. Now it overflowed. "Because the kids who once ran past me wanted me there with them," I whispered, more to myself than anyone else. "I waited by the door once, but I don't wait anymore." Emma tilted her head. "What did you say?" I smiled faintly. "Nothing, just, 'Happy Halloween!'" Kyle cheered. "Best Halloween ever." Emma nodded. "Because we were all together." Mom touched my shoulder gently. "Because you finally belong." I glanced at her, then at the two kids laughing on the floor with their candy. For the first time, I didn't feel like the outsider. Not because someone handed me a place, but because I had built my own, and this time nobody could take it away.